welcome to another episode of Creating Magic. I'm Danny.
And I'm Paula, and today we are joined once again by our Mossverse correspondent, Angel, and a guest we've never had on, Christina. You guys can introduce yourselves, give us your pronouns, and where we can find you.
All right, my name's Angel. My pronouns are he, him, and my Instagram handle is at Wizard of Main Street.
Wow, that was smooth. Hi, my name's Christina. I love books and I never stop talking. My pronouns are she, her, and my Instagram handle is the Half-Blood Reader.
We kind of threw you off because we were discussing Manon and meeting her, and then we're like, let's put the record button before we do this. So it's okay. We kind of just threw you in there being like, we need to stop talking so this could be on record.
It happens a lot.
Well, tell us, Christina, when you first met Manon, what?
Oh, so when I first met her, I am not going to lie. I was like, should I be afraid that she's going to eat me, or do I love this character? Because I had seen a lot of the hype on the internet. And so, of course, you know that there's a lovable character. And I'm like, oh, everybody likes her. And I am reading and I am scared. I'm like, why do we like her? She eats people. And I was thrown off for a second. So I was very weary of her character.
I feel like Angel and Paula have had this experience reading these books because I'm like, Manon's my favorite character, Nesta's my favorite character, and they like meet them and they're like, what is wrong with you?
It's like, Danny, who are you? I don't even know you anymore. I don't even know you.
Oh, you like the morally gray female characters.
I like characters that have a really good story and have strong character development. Like, to me, that's something that I'm always very attracted to in a character is like, I've been reviewing books for years before Book Talk was a thing. And as a reviewer, I realized that like when I was getting better at it, character development was a huge, huge deal to me. And if I didn't see movement of the character, I did not connect. And so, like, I think Nesta has one of the best stories in a long time of how her character develops.
Interesting.
And Manon too, or no?
Manon too, but Nesta's is such like an internal journey. And like, because you're seeing it from her perspective the whole time, for the most part, you're kind of like understanding where her brain also operates. Whereas like Manon, I enjoy her journey, but sometimes you don't like understand her motivations as much as you understand Nesta's. Like you're like, I get why you're doing these things. I might not like it. You may need to go get some counseling, but we understand you from this aspect.
Yeah, I think it was also harder for Sarah to, let me rephrase that because I think she did a fantastic job developing so many characters with so many different points of view. Because I think each character does have at least some development. They're not these surface level characters. You get a whole different set of people. You kind of grow with them from the initial book towards the end. And so I commend her on that. But at the same time, it was much more challenging, I think, to give them that full story. Like Nesta gets a whole book.
Well, you also have to remember, she was 16 years old when she wrote Throne of Glass books.
That's crazy.
So,
yeah.
And like Akatar is Crescent City's her newest, but it was more when she was in her adult years. So it's understandable that she didn't, it's amazing at 16 how many characters she wrote and how well the story she did. But I understand where certain things didn't get to certain points because she was only 16 herself.
I love the series.
Oh, I love the series.
Like from the beginning.
I have nothing bad to say. Throne of Glass is my favorite of them all.
Do you have a favorite character, Christina, that you can share that isn't a spoiler for Kingdom of Ash?
Oh, of course. Lorcan. So the two characters that I was actually the most obsessed with as far as character development throughout the whole series was Lorcan and Alid. I think it's Alid, right?
Yeah.
I always say Alide, but I know on the audiobook it's Alid. I absolutely fell in love with her, and then them together just And that's without any spoilers. This is this is before
Right.
Kingdom of Ash. They quickly became
Yes.
two of my favorite characters.
So this episode is part 2 of the Tandem raid.
Yes.
Which
Christina
there's
did
no
not
other
do
way
the
to do it.
tandem read.
What? Oh, there's no other way to do it.
She tried.
I did. I actually started with the tandem and I struggled because Empire of Storms had about 9 different point of view switches initially. And Tower of Dawn had, I think, like 3, maybe 3 or 4, maybe 4, let's say 4 max. And so I was switching between like 12 different characters at a time. And I felt like I could not connect with each one. And I actually think that that does a disservice to Kale and Irene in Tower of Dawn because I find that most people don't connect with Kale. And I think it's because they're doing the tandem. Because I read that book on its own. And so I got to fully live and appreciate their moment without anything else, without any other.
That's how I initially read it.
So I have a question for you because Danny also read it that way. She read it separately, but Danny read them. And this is like my How I Met Your Mother theory. Okay. Danny read them as they were released, meaning that she read Empire of Storms, waited, and then read Tower of Dawn. You read them back to back, right?
No, I read Tower of Dawn first. I read Tower of Dawn first and stopped where there was the spoiler and then read Empire of Storms. I got one minor spoiler in Tower of Dawn for Empire of Storms, like something that was going on.
You can say it.
We know because we finished
up
the tandem.
through those two, anything except the final book, we're allowed to spoiler. This is
okay.
Yeah.
We just don't talk about the final book, Tower of Dawn.
Yeah.
You're allowed to say spoilers here.
Is it
We
the
kind of
Maeve
recap
spoiler?
through the whole thing.
Is it the
Okay.
Maeve spoiler, the Skulls Bay spoiler? Which spoiler?
Yeah. So where Kale says Aelin is at Skulls Bay, reading Tower of Dawn, I actually had no idea that she was there because I hadn't actually. So in a way, it's a spoiler, but not really because I'm reading Tower of Dawn first. So I knew that that was going to be spoiled and I was okay with that. The main spoiler of her being like the way Empire of Storms ends, I think Tower of Dawn alludes to that right at the ending. I waited to read that last chapter. So I think it's called the Fireheart chapter. I did not read that. So I read all of Tower of Dawn. So I didn't have, I honestly think I would have been fine reading Empire of Storms first. I have patience and I'm okay with cliffhangers. But I did do Tower of Dawn, loved the story so much that I actually liked Tower of Dawn more than Empire of Storms. I'm saying it. It's controversial.
It is. That's one of the, what do they call those? Those unpopular opinions. Well, I do not like Tower of Dawn.
Well, I don't. So here's the thing. Like, you guys know that I loved Kale. At the beginning, I was like,
yeah, we were all on Lettuce Poppy.
That's where he's at. I love him. And I was like, I hope that he doesn't like Lucian me because I loved Lucian and Akatar. And I was like, this. And then when he started getting like kind of being a jerk, I was like, come on, man. But in Tower of Dawn, I did like him. I liked like towards the end, obviously, because at the beginning I was like, you are impossible. I just can't.
It's like, you're insufferable.
You're insufferable. I cannot with you. Please just come through. Come through.
I love Tower of Dawn. So I will say I understand why some people struggle with it initially. It's very difficult when you have read now 4 books and they're all centered around a very similar environment. And now you're just thrown into a random world that Sarah has created. And not only are you thrown into a random world, you've got like 6 siblings. Nobody knows how to pronounce their name. They all are, I don't know. We're just, it's new. And you have Nezrin, who is kind of like a side character. So you don't really have that emotional attachment to her. And you're just like, why do I even care about these two when I have been so invested in the 3 main, in Rowan, Aelin, Dorian, that whole plot. So I get that. I think for me, one, I always loved Irene's character. So I knew she was going to be that. I just loved her in Assassin's Blade, and I couldn't wait to hear more about her storyline. And I think for Kale, I like that they put him in this book already with a disability. So his character growth and acceptance in that role with her, I don't know. I just like fell absolutely in love. And so a lot of that fluff, that side plot going on, like Nezrin and Sartak and all these siblings, it was good. It didn't deter me from the book, but I was just so obsessed with Kale and Irene. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. Now kiss.
No kiss.
Yeah. I loved his character development. And a lot of people really dislike Nezrin and Sartak. However you say his name.
I think you
But
got it good.
I think it was SJM's. If you think about it, they're really, aside from Kale, they're like the only human point of view. And so I think it was really necessary to have, and it's funny because they're the least popular, right? But they don't have powers. Like they don't have a cool storyline. But I think they added that real aspect to the story in general because you needed humans. Like you needed people that didn't just have magic to also kind of explain what they were going through. Without them, we wouldn't have really had that narrative.
True.
I think before this part, had we predicted, like, I know we had predicted that Kale and Nezrin were going to be a thing, but I think that was at the end of whatever book was before Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. Was it Air of Fire? No. It was
Queen of Shadows.
Queen of Shadows, yes.
She turned
Queen of
around.
Shadows, yeah. Queen of Shadows, right? We had made predictions about who's going to end up together, and then we had said Dorian and Manon, right? We're going to be a thing. We had already said that, but I didn't expect, Nezrin to fall in love with the prince.
Sartak. Well, I was suspicious of Sartak.
I was suspicious of him too.
The entire time. I was like, this guy. My theories are always off. That's like my thing. I told
Dorian's
somebody,
twin.
Dorian's twin. I told somebody that the other day.
It's like, and she's going to end up with one of the spiders.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, for me, it was the Dorian's twin thing. I still think about it because I'm like, it wasn't that obviously I was wrong, right? But the fact that the tower like appeared when he was born and that thing down there was human-like, I was like, it's his twin. It's his evil twin, and they hid him down there in that obsidian tower so they could like keep him down there. Poor guy. Anyway.
Well, there's still 3 of them, right? Well, they took down that one, right? But there's still, where are the other 2? Right? Like where are the other 2 towers? Are they still relevant? Where's Dorian's brother? Because we haven't heard of him at all.
Oh, the Joffrey kid. Yeah.
Right? We just know
that's not his name, but
right. I don't even think they had fled. I can't remember if they had fled when Dorian's city was sacked. Do you remember? I don't even remember because that was part 1. That was part 1 of the Tandem.
Look at Christina and Danny. Look at their faces. They cannot say anything.
But we haven't heard of them. We don't know what's going on with them. They must have, Dorian might end up killing him or something.
The most important character.
What
was Fleetfoot doing?
Yeah, well, Fleetfoot is over. Isn't he over there? Isn't he over there with Nezrin's family? Where's the dog?
He is with Nezrin's family.
Nezrin's family, right? Yeah.
Actually, I sobbed in Crown of Midnight when that dog went in
to the portal.
To do which is crazy because what is wrong with me? I did not sob when Aelin is going through her traumatic whipping. Like, yeah, I'm sad, I'm distraught. But when that dog went in there, I was like, not the dog.
Anybody but the dog.
Yeah. I was like, he has nothing to do with this.
I'll have to share at the end when we finish Kingdom of Ash. I'll share a spoiler I had.
And you had a spoiler for Kingdom of Ash?
I have a spoiler. I'll just wait till Kingdom of Ash. I'll share it.
Yeah, don't
but we'll come back to this moment. We'll come back.
I'll go to California and I'll and Danny would be okay with it.
I was spoiled for Kingdom of Ash, like a major spoiler. I was so upset because up until that point, I had avoided everything online. And it just came from a random video on my For You page, not even a book page. This girl just like had it all over the video. She just had a regular Instagram. And I was so upset. And even knowing the spoiler, and I'm not going to tell you what it was, but I'm hoping that this is the scenario for you if it's the one that I'm thinking.
Mhm.
I still sobbed during Kingdom of Ash. I still never imagined it to be the way that I had pictured whatever I saw. So it was like I was spoiled. And even then, the book, you could know everything that happens in Kingdom of Ash and you will still feel all of the feels.
This is why they mentioned Wicked in our group chat the other day, and I'm like leaving the chat until I see it. And they're like, we're not gonna spoil it. I'm like,
We did.
but yeah, you start talking about it and stuff starts showing up on my For You page and I get spoiled.
Yeah.
This is why I'm like out of the conversation until I see
I
it.
learned real early on in my ACOTAR journey
Right.
not to like search things, or like when I started, it was in
Wings of Ruin. Wings in
Wings
Ruin.
in Ruin.
Yeah.
I saw a video. It was a girl just, there was nothing that said like spoiler warning or anything. And a girl's like sitting on her bed. I can almost see her floral sheets on her bed. Like that's how pressed into my brain it was. Okay. And she's like, and it said like, oh, you don't know uh pain until you hear this audio. And I was like, why don't I want to feel pain? Sure. And I watch it, and it's the audio of
Spoiler
Feyre
alert.
yelling Reese when he's like dead. And I was like, and he's like, he's my poppy. So I was like, ooh. And I didn't even tell them. I was like, once I find out what this is, I'll tell you. I don't even want to tell you because I was distraught. I was very distraught. But anyway, yeah. But after that, I didn't. I knew that Caltaine would die only because I can't remember what I searched, but I pulled something up and it wasn't even on Instagram. It was like on Wikipedia or something. I
Mhm.
think I was looking for the spelling of somebody's name or something, and the thing came up and it said like that she was dead. And I was like, she dies? So, but that one wasn't like a big one, but
Up until Kingdom of Ash, I had no spoilers. I didn't even know that Aelin and Selena were the same person. So and I think that's why I also really enjoyed Crown of Midnight, because I see online that it's not a huge favorite. I'm wondering how you guys feel. But Crown of Midnight, the last half of the book had me on the edge of my seat. I was sweating so bad. I was like, what is going to happen? I can't breathe. And then when I find out that she's Aelin, for some reason, my brain, I knew there was going to be an Aelin in the series, just like I knew there was going to be a Manon. I never thought they were the same person. So I was like, and I was like, this book is fantastic.
So good. It's such a good
Yeah.
book. I'm really excited for the journey for the final book.
I'm terrified.
Well, yeah. I mean, let's talk about so I'll tell you where I teared up in this one was when, like, I think every time Adian got like slapped in the face, you guys were talking about how characters, how we get different points of view, and we're not really in their brains. Like, we're never in Aylin's brain. We get as surprised as the characters do with all of her plots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so every time with I get teared up because Aiden's over here like guilt tripping him. So like I'm such an idiot. Like she was out here looking for us, looking out for us the entire time, making all these backroom deals, calling in all these favors. And then when all the kind of like everybody shows up at the end, like that's what really got me is that she knew, and then the plan with Lysandra, the whole thing, and Rowan had no clue, like that he was just gonna kind of have to like what is it like just go along with it. Oh man, that was tough.
That was
That was tough. I started tearing up there.
I'm so happy you said that though, because I'm so curious to see how that's going to play out for you in Kingdom of Ash, because you're going to get a lot of character development from all of these characters because now they're all together. So up until this point, they've all been separated. And so Sarah does a wonderful job in Kingdom of Ash of just giving you several point of views. And so I can't wait to see how you feel knowing that and then seeing it pan out.
how much am I going to cry?
Are you going to keep count this time, like in
I should keep count, right?
You
Yeah.
should keep count.
Should I keep count?
Yes. I mean, you do chapter updates. So right there, here, go count one.
You just need to put like one of the little meters and
Yeah.
just ticking.
A tear emoji every time.
I'm terrified.
I
Like
think
every
you
time
may
I'm
be
telling you.
traumatized.
Look, I saw a video of Christina when she finished the book, like fucking laying back, holding the book, like with tears fucking streaming down her face. Like,
Wait, is this at the end of the book or is this in the middle of the book? Or I guess don't tell me.
No,
Don't tell
this
me.
is the
Don't
whole
tell me.
book. The whole
It's
I
the
book.
whole
won't
I'm
tell
just
book.
you
gonna.
where. I will say though that because and I want to say this so that you enjoy it because one, it really is when they say it's going to hurt, but you're going to be happy about it. Like it is one of those. So it is painful, but I would reread Kingdom of Ash. I don't know what that says about me, but I would literally like re-pick it up right. We're talking about it. I'm like, dang, I'm just gonna go reread it. It is a fantastic book. And you've grown with these characters. And I think that's why so much
You
of it hits
feel for
emotionally.
these, yeah.
Yeah, because you've been with them now for how many books? 7?
Yeah.
And now this is the last one. And so everything that happens just has so much more of an emotional punch. But I do want to say this because I have read, this is so unrelated, but I just finished reading Manacled. And I kept hearing online, just to give you an example of how emotional wrecking it was going to be and all of this stuff. And I think going into it, I was so scared that I was reading it with so much anticipation of something bad happening that I didn't enjoy the story as much. With Kingdom of Ash, I don't think you need to feel that way. I think it is emotionally devastating because you're so invested. I don't think it's like one particular moment. There are several things
I don't know that you
that
made this
might.
better.
So I don't want you to go into it reading it thinking like, oh, is it now? Is it now that I'm going to cry?
Yeah.
Like,
Paula's
it's
just gonna
just an
cry every. She
experience.
doesn't go into things like that. She just knows she's gonna cry.
Yeah.
Angel,
I honestly, I finished Kingdom of Ash in like 2 days, I think.
Oh,
It's such a
that's crazy
massive
to
book.
me. That would never happen to me.
I blew through it. It was just such a binge worthy read. So
That would never happen to me. I've never read a book in 2 days. I'm not a fast reader.
how long did it
Um,
take you to read the Britney biography?
That's different though. It was like written by a 13-year-old. I could have written the Britney biography if I was Britney. Okay. I did love it though.
that's so funny.
That was like my first book that I like picked up and was like, I think I'm gonna read this.
That's so
But
funny.
yeah.
I mean, I still remember my first book I read in one sitting.
What's that?
Goosebumps, The Cuckoo Clock of Doom.
Goosebumps was
Nice.
I was
classic.
not an adult. I was a child. But this is how much of a reader I am, is that I remember the first chapter book that I read in one sitting in a day.
Day. Yeah. I mean, I don't think the Britney book counts though, as like I don't know. It was written for me, honestly. It had like no theories, no, there's no plot.
But I mean, Paula, you've been reading pretty fast through the Twisted Crown series, the
I
One Dark
did.
Window Twisted
I
Crown.
finished it pretty quick for
like-
me. It was really good.
I love that series, that duology.
It's so good.
Wait, so
You
it's
Yeah,
only
finished
two
it
books?
already, Angel?
No, I'm on Twisted,
Two
the
Twisted
second.
Crowns?
Yeah, two Twisted Crowns. So, but I'm like,
We need
I
to
think I
get
got
Danny
3
to
hours.
read it.
Yeah, I think I got 3 hours left. So,
I have a really long list right now, y'all.
so
He's
do
never
we.
gonna read anything with us.
I'm about to pick up Kingdom of Ash and reread it with you guys. So I don't know what that says. I literally don't know what that says about my brain, but I am ready to be heard again.
I mean, I just reread one of my favorite books for like the millionth time, so it's good.
What's
What
the
is
book?
it?
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One. I was gonna ask if it was that. I was like,
I
it's
love
her.
that book. It's so good. It's like my stress relief book. One of them. I have a few of those.
That's me with Twilight. Shamefully, till the
Ugh.
day I die. I don't know what it is about that book, but every year around Christmas time, I rewatch the movies. Why? I love pain. And I'm like, this is great somehow. And then when I rewatch the first movie, I'm like, well, now I'm just going to go read the book. I'm just going to read the book. And then the next thing you know, I'm rereading the series every year, never fails.
Now that we have finished the tandem, and we don't have to separate it part one and part two, how are you guys feeling going into the final book?
Well, you know me. I keep saying I'm scared. I'm scared because of everybody's tears. Like, and I don't cry I cry a lot. So I'm scared that I'm going to be like sobbing through this entire book. Am I going to be sobbing through this entire book?
No,
No.
not the entire book.
No, not the. You won't the entire book.
Okay.
No, there's a good portion that is not like a crying thing. There's just like things that happen that you're like, my heart.
And I
Wait,
think
we
she
have to
does a
ask
really
Angel a
great job.
question
Oh, go
because
ahead.
we've asked him on every episode. Do you think Sam is still alive? Oh, Angel's stuck. Look, he's like laughing.
Do you think Sam is still alive?
Nah, I don't think Sam is still alive.
Angel has been very
From
like
the very
from the
beginning.
beginning.
Like, I think he's still alive.
He gives us
I
a
think he's still alive.
percentage. I think the last time we did it, it was like 99% not alive.
Yeah. But every single one, he was like, I think he's still alive.
And he'll give you
Assassin's
like the
Blade
reason behind why.
took me forever to read. But after that, I was like, even though I knew he was dead, reading that hurt me. I was like, reading like how he died was rough.
Did you
But
read it third or fourth?
third.
Yeah. I read it first, so I didn't know. So there was definitely more shock value.
Do you think Sam is still alive?
Do I think Sam is still alive? Oh, that's a great question. I'm gonna say I'm gonna hold out 1% just because I really liked him. I still don't like Rowan for Aelin. Sorry.
Same.
I
Me
don't
and
like
Angel
Rowan
on the
for Aelin.
same team.
I do not. Rowan, like I think I agree with Paula. Like Rowan's great. He's a great character.
Like, I don't want
I
anything to happen to him. But I don't want him with Aelin.
just like by Maeve that
Angel's having a rough night.
yeah.
He's struggling.
Is
California.
it because he punched her in the face? Because I also have not forgotten that.
Yeah, I can't get over that. I think there's another thing. I have like a Rowan sympathizer in my DMs that is like, well, how do you feel about Lorcan now? And I was like, well, he didn't punch her in the face. Yeah, sure, he was going to kill her. But he didn't.
But I draw the line, not at killing, because it's just a thought. But the
It was a
actual
thought.
punching.
He didn't act upon it. You know what I mean? Punching someone in the face is so personal. And I told someone the other day, I used to work in a domestic violence hotline, and I just feel like that for me was like so triggering. And I can't forget it. And I'm thinking to myself, Aelin, how could you forget?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I didn't necessarily ship Aelin and Rowan immediately together. It was tough because in Heir of Fire, which is where I think they finally link up. She has this beautiful character development by the end of the book. It's where you really get a sense of who she is. It's like this deep thing about her. And then it kind of all made sense to me why her and Rowan are kind of cut from the same cloth. They both have gone through a lot of trauma together and now they're bonding. I think the reason I didn't really ship them initially, though, is because Rowan, I don't know if Sarah just didn't know how she wanted to paint his character, but initially he meets her, punches her in the face. And so he seems like he's going to give off similar to like Lorcan vibes, where it's very broody, very dark MMC. And he turns into a cinnamon roll really fast.
Yeah.
So the energy, it wasn't really aligning with me because I'm like, you had him come in so strong, so broody, so broken. And then he quickly becomes really vanilla, where now he's all about her and he's really soft. And my brain could just not reconcile the difference in those two. And I don't know if it's because he just is I think it's because he's emotionally closed off when he first meets her. And then maybe opens up a little bit more. She breaks down his barriers. I don't know. The punching didn't align with the Rowan we got for the rest of the series. And I couldn't reconcile that as much. I'm wondering if I would feel different on a reread.
I don't think you would. That for me is, and every time, like when I reach a chapter where they're like, all I say is, Aelin loves Rowan, Rowan loves Aelin, because I'm just so.
Oh, that
And
yeah.
then,
I don't know if it was because Maeve also tricked me into thinking that Rowan had a mate, right? Like, and maybe that's why I don't like them together because I already think Rowan had his person.
oh,
But it wasn't the case, right? And I did like being confirmed that I had suspected that Maeve had actually killed Rowan's first mate, or I guess fake mate. Um, so I meant to go back to listen to our pod, but I think we had talked about that it was Maeve that was kind of had
behind the,
had traumatized him. So,
yeah. For me, it's all
but
about the punch. That's all it is. I cannot
get
get
over
over
that.
the fact that he punched her in the face.
He
And
was
then
just
she was
over
like, you know what? I'm going to hook up with this guy.
he was overcome with the mating bond, probably.
No, absolutely not.
At all. They're my least favorite couple, period.
Yeah.
But I love Manon and Dorian, and when he jumped into the water and he didn't tell her. He loves her, right, Paula?
He loves.
And when Adian told Lysandra that she was gonna be his wife, oh, that was great. But then I think right now, if I remember correctly, they're upset with each other because again, Lysandra kept him out of the loop and
Yeah, they were going to use him for
right, exactly.
baby making purposes. That was weird. I was like, whoa. I would be pissed too. But I did think he crossed the line in like
Yeah.
name calling her and shit like that. I
But
don't
I mean,
know.
I guess it's pretty typical of him, right? Like he keeps crossing the line when he told Aelin too, like they abandoned us, like, you're not or whatever, when he's yelling at her and stuff, or you don't know what you're doing or whatever. And then
He needs therapy too. All these
yeah,
characters need therapy. Seriously.
He name calls her at the end of Empire of Storms when he gets mad at her.
yeah.
At
Are you
Lysandra, yeah. I
asking?
think he
Yeah,
called her
Lysandra.
like a or something.
Yeah,
I
pretty
don't know.
sure.
I was like,
Yeah.
whoa,
Perfect.
whoa.
I wasn't sure if that happened in Empire of Storms or at the beginning of Kingdom of Ash. So I didn't.
Danny,
So he gets a lot of slack, I think, because of that. He just gets so much hate on the internet, and that's why I was saying I'm really thankful that you pointed out though that is such an ultimate betrayal because Adian's character from the beginning has this unconditional devotion and loyalty to Aelin. And she doesn't give him the blood oath. He doesn't have the blood oath.
Right.
He doesn't have anything. She's kind of like backfilled his position with all of these people that she keeps in her corner. And yet he still supports her blindly. She could do anything. And he's like, my fealty is to you. It's almost like my sister's keeper a little bit. Like his whole life is centered on just protecting her. And then she does this betrayal where it's like, not only did you not include me in your plans, even though I am trying to help you and win alongside of you, you also took the one person that I am developing feelings for and said that we would produce heirs without even consulting me. And I just really felt for him. And so when he name called her, I wasn't even mad about it. I was like, you know what? Feel you, man. I feel you because the betrayal hurt me a little bit.
No, but for me, it's the name calling just seems so
Childish.
harsh. I mean, it's not like
Yeah.
punching someone in the face, but
He's
I
hurt.
still felt like fuck. But I get it. Like
Yeah.
you were basically using his. That's not, and you weren't gonna let him know.
And I mean, there's another betrayal too, right? Lorcan betraying them too to Maeve, and then I really felt for him because when Elite said like, "Oh, no matter what, you always have a place in my court or in my house or whatever in my home," but then at the end she's like, "I never want to see you," blah blah, because she's obviously hurt. So I mean, I expect they'll reconcile in Kingdom of Ash. Well, I mean, we hope so, right? Maybe I don't know. Maybe he ends up dying for her. Who knows?
Oh my god!
I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I would he almost did when Aelin was burning through the 500 whatever how many ever there were Vogue coming to them in the marsh. So
That was really tough for me at the end of
Paula didn't even
Empire of
consider that
Storm.
as an option.
I cannot. The
I
thing
won't be
is,
surprised.
listen, you know that I have Game of Thrones trauma. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like, if I have a
Don't get
favorite
attached.
character,
Don't get attached.
they're gonna die. They're gonna die. And that's how I spent all of Akatar. Like once I was like, Reese is mine, and then I found that spoiler and I was like, now he's gonna die and I'm gonna be forever ruined. Like I will never be the same. And then I'm still waiting for Cassian to die. So
Well, we know it's going to happen, right?
maybe Elena's dumb.
Yeah, I mean she is.
Maybe she don't know what she's talking about.
Who else? Who else? Manon, you know how Manon talked about the yielding?
Uh-huh.
She talked about this whole power, like, but that the witches let their power loose. Like, remember, because we know Dorian or Aelin have to die. Like that has to happen.
Right.
Or well, I mean, based on
Right.
Elena's
Based on
prophecy, right? Based on
Elena's
Elena, I mean, she already messed up with the key one, so maybe her prophecy's a bunch of lies too, right? Maybe they
baloney.
don't have to die. Yeah, maybe they don't have to die. But right now, one of them has to die, and it would be such a like. I mean, ideally, Aelin was planning it was going to be her, but if it were like Manon and Dorian going out together, I mean, that'd be a beautiful ending to them too. Even though I wouldn't want that, but I could see that happening
I'm not
too.
gonna make it.
I could see that happening too because she said like, oh, yeah, Blackbeaks don't do that because it's like a last resort kind of thing, and I don't know.
I love that you're open to all of the possibilities, though.
I'm not open to any of the possibilities.
Well, I mean, I don't like it. I just,
Not these.
I'm expecting that. Those are the kinds of things I'm expecting. Um, who's the other?
Paul's
What's
not
the
gonna
name?
survive.
Lorcan. What's the trio? Lorcan, Aiden's dad. What's his name again?
Oh, Gabriel.
Gabriel, and who's the other one? Fenris.
Fenris.
Fenris. Oh,
Fenris. Yeah,
Fenris.
yeah. I don't know if he's gonna make it. He doesn't seem like it.
What happens when in the final book everyone survives and it's happily ever after?
Oh, that
Oh,
would
that'll
be
be great.
perfect.
That'll be perfect. I'll be so happy. What a happy surprise.
You know what?
I'm curious. I'm curious what you guys thought of Aelin in Empire of Storms versus Aelin in Queen of Shadows.
Well, I mean, it was the same, right? Wasn't she? She was planning since then. That's when she got not Irene, Astrid. What's the redhead?
Oh
The
no,
red
Ansel.
Yeah, that's when she got Ansel. Like she'd been planning since then, since when she came back to kill Arbrin, right? Like that. So I thought she was still like I don't know, she's like playing chess.
Are you saying like what did I think of her like the way she was? Like she
Yeah,
was
so I
kind
think
of giving a kind of like they were below her kind of. I
When you
did
say
feel
who,
that.
they who? Like her
Like
whole clan
her
and everything?
people, like
Oh, okay.
even
Mhm.
Dorian.
Mm-hmm.
Like the way that she talked to Dorian was very like kind of yeah, you're king, but it was not like we're equals. And that
yeah, so
concerned me.
I've learned about myself that I also enjoy books when I really enjoy the narrators, and when they start to aggravate me, then I have a hard time. And I wonder if this also contributes maybe to my Empire of Storms ranking. But I really struggled with Aelin in that book because Queen of Shadows is my favorite book of the entire series. And I love that she grew in that one. So the first three books, we get Selena finally owning up to her being Aelin. Era of Fire ends with her having this emotional breakthrough. And then she really shines in Queen of Shadows. It's almost like she accepts her role as queen. She's like, I'm the badass that I am. And that book, she was always 10 steps ahead of the game. And I loved it. I loved her confidence. And then she goes into Empire of Storms, and it seems like it goes quickly from confidence to cockiness. And now she is, like Paula said, talking down. It seems like she wants things for the glory and not for the good of everybody. Because I think there was one scene in Empire of Storms where she does say something to Dorian, I think before the prophecy or with Manon, and she says something like, oh, I can't believe like I didn't do that. Something along those lines. And
Yeah.
I was
And I
just
think
like,
Manon
girl.
points it out to him like, why is she, if you are equals, why is she talking to you
Hmm.
like this? And it's like, oh, your
Yeah. And
girl's
I
got
didn't
your
like
back.
that.
Yeah.
It seemed very much like, oh, I want the glory. I want the, you know, the applause. And I think that that really cost her in the end. So I think Sarah ended Empire of Storms the way she did to highlight the fact that Aelin regressed. Like she went back to that cocky girl who thought she knew everything, and it cost her because now at the end of the book, she's in a
Trapped.
box.
Yeah.
She's in a box.
Yeah. So I was curious how you guys felt about her
Hmm.
character, or if you didn't really, you were just like,
I
all
didn't
right.
I didn't catch it that way actually. I caught it the way kind of Aiden kind of felt it like, oh, she was thinking about us the whole time. But it gives
Yeah,
I guess it is in line with her personality though, right? Being the best.
and that's
So
what
The
I love
best.
about Sarah.
Paula
They're not
doesn't think she's
perfect
the best
characters.
assassin. Remember
she is
this.
not. She's not. She's very
When I was introduced to Manon, I was like, this girl is an
she's an
assassin.
assassin.
Seriously.
It's like, okay. Like, cause when you first meet her, she's like in that field or whatever and takes that guy out, rips out his throat. I was like, okay, this is what I thought I was gonna get with Selena.
Yeah, she was out here eating people.
Oh, in every single podcast, I was like, Danny, I don't know, I don't understand who gave her this title
Best
of best
assassin.
assassin. Like, who's giving out titles? Because this is not. It's not.
Yeah, and she made sure that you knew she was the best assassin because she said it every like 2 minutes.
I was like, who gave her this
Yeah,
title? Did she give it to herself? She probably gave it to herself.
that's what
Manon, assassin.
that's what I love so much about the series. Though their characters change so much,
Yeah.
and then they're also still so real. Like they're not perfect characters. So I'm curious, like, to see how you guys feel going into Kingdom of Ash with all of that, like just where their characters are at now.
I still would like, I don't know if Danny can get this for us, a chart of the family tree. Because I was still trying to tie back to, oh wait, who's Mala? All right. And then who's that? And I don't, like Paula said, I can't go and look at it because
Yeah, we
if I
can't look
do,
for it because we'll
I
definitely find something
right.
that we're not supposed to.
You
So I
have
was like,
one book to get through and then you're allowed to search.
well, yeah, but can you just give me the
We're on
family
an
tree so I
internet
know where I'm
ban.
going?
I don't even know, Danny, if you have found a good one, but I will tell you right now that even after I finished the series, I could not find a good family tree. I
Oh,
even
okay, great.
contemplated just making one myself.
Make one
And then
yourself,
I was
please.
like, I would have to go on the reread, but I could not find, I found like one obscure one on Pinterest that I thought was the best. And even then, I don't know if it was fully accurate. It was just the one I followed the best.
I wish there was something like for me, instead of a map, I want a family tree. Maybe in the back of the book. So I could like,
Yeah, follow
oh,
who's
okay.
who.
Because I'm still like, are these people all related? What is happening here?
Right.
That was my grievance with Tower of Dawn. I was like, Sarah, you gave me this whack ass map that doesn't tell me anything. Have you looked at that map? It's the weakest map of the books. And I was like, why didn't you give me a family tree? I do not care about this area. I need to know how they're all related. And for a long time, I was like, are Aelin and Rowan cousins? Maybe another reason why I couldn't ship them in the beginning, because I was like, you're related somehow. And then everybody pointed out that they're like 5,000 years apart. And I was like, fair, fair.
Still cousins.
It's still cousins.
It's like still fair.
Still family.
What do you all want to see happen in the final book?
Well, for me, happily ever after. But I feel like I'm gonna get that.
I want to see Manon and Ansel split the wasteland. I want to see them come to terms with that. I'd like Skulls Bay, what's his name? The cat Rolf to get his, his title back, whatever family history he has. He has a pretty sad story too with his losing it was his mom and his sister, right? Yeah. So I'd like him to have his I feel like everybody who's been who's lost their home gets their home back, right? Whether or not everybody's alive to see it, is
That's
okay.
what I'm saying.
What about you, Paula? What do you want to see besides the happy ending?
I don't know. I'm just scared. Um, I'd like Lorcan and Lilith to like obviously make up and have 8,000 babies. I don't want Rowan to die, but I would like for them to realize that maybe they're not right for each other.
She's literally like off with his head.
Don't kill him. Don't kill him. Because I think he's a nice guy. I just, I don't think he's for her. And I don't think she's for him. That's just me. Yeah. I'm very interested to see like, you know how like Irene and Kale now like they share this like thing, like he can
They share a
walk.
life. They share a
Yeah, they're
life.
sharing
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
yeah, like I'm interested to see what happens with that. I'm also scared because I love them. But yeah. That's all. I'm expecting to be scared and then crying a lot.
Yeah.
That's all I
Kale's
have.
definitely gone down on my list though. Ever since like when he said like, oh, when they had been asking for information and he kind of just offhandedly said she's at Skulls Bay or whatever. And it turned out to actually be true that she was at Skulls Bay. I thought that Maeve found them because Sartak's kingdom or whatever, the king was in cahoots with Maeve or somebody, and that's how like they tracked Aelin. Um, which now that I think about it, was it well the I can't remember who he slipped the information to, if it was the younger sister or not. I had completely forgotten the younger sister when I realized she was the
The
one that was
pregnant one?
possessed. Yeah, the pregnant one that was possessed
Me
by the
neither.
thing.
I was
I
like,
was like, there was a pregnant sibling when? So I was like, okay, I guess there was. But
she was not on my list of possible um
villains.
villains. Not at all. She wasn't on my radar at all. My radar was here and she was paya paya.
Was Maeve did she have any was she did she show up in Empire of Storms
She
at
showed
all?
up in Empire Storms. She revealed to Aelin about having faked Rowan to try and separate them because she suspected of their mating bond. Um, uh, she was going to take a lead with her unless Aelin submitted. So Aelin submitted, sneaked the keys to the weird keys or the
Word keys.
the word keys to Manon, and then took off. And I think it ended with just them like uh, torturing her, right? That's
Yeah,
where the book
she's in a
ended.
box.
She's in a box, and well, I think they took her out because they were torturing her. Like they had gotten to a certain number, but she wasn't given, or was that
Yeah, it
still
was
at
like she had to count the lashings, I
right?
think.
Was that I don't know. I know that happened at the beach, but it also for some reason I feel like she had already made it out of the box wherever they were. But I might be
But
wrong.
she's wearing like something right over her face.
Yeah, I think they got her like hooded.
Hooded.
Okay, I couldn't remember if she just showed up at the end or if she had more in the actual book.
No, she's
Like,
only at the end. They talk about
Yeah,
her like that she was somewhere. Now I
she's
can't
the
remember.
she's the Vogue Queen according to Tower of Dawn spiders,
Yes.
and um and apparently just what was it like tricked everyone into believing that she's related to them.
But yeah, oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
that she's
like
not like one of the right. It's three of
she's
them,
not
right?
part of the yeah, she's not part of the siblings,
She
but
just made
just
everybody believe that. That's
yeah.
crazy.
I don't know. That's why I need the family tree. I need the family tree.
Family tree and a DNA test for everybody.
Well, next up, we are starting Kingdom of Ash. So you
Yay.
guys are officially allowed to start the final book of Throne of Glass.
Well,
I'll
I'm
be done
scared.
before the new year.
I'm hoping that we can be through Kingdom of Ash by the end of December,
Yeah, that's
No
what I'm saying. Yeah,
pressure.
so
I
that
think Paula will
come
be done before.
January, we might take a little breather, a breather book in between, possibly, and then head into Crescent City.
Wasn't it crazy, Paul? I think we had talked about it was going to be a whole year when we started
I
this
know
back in
when we started
January.
it in January.
And then
I'm sad for you that it's going to be over soon because as soon as I finished Kingdom of Ash, the only thing I wanted to do was reread the entire series again. And I think the only thing that got me through the slump is just knowing Sarah had more books out there. So like Crescent City, I transitioned right away. I wasn't ready to let go of her world.
So did you start? You started with Akatar?
Yeah,
Okay.
I started
And
with
would you
Akatar.
recommend people start with ACOTAR still, or do you like them starting with Throne of Glass?
You know what's funny? So Akatar was like the main series that actually got me back into reading again. I had read one other series right before called the Crave series, but it's like YA, totally different.
Yeah.
It's all of these books that I have right here, like these big
Mhm.
ones. And then I was like, man, I missed reading. I used to be a huge reader as a kid. I was a big Harry Potter. I read all the Harry Potter, Hunger Games, Twilight, all that stuff, and I loved fantasy. And then I picked up Akotar. I had no idea that it had this massive following. I did not know that Sarah was a wizard. And so
You're a wizard,
I'm
Sarah.
like, yeah, so I'm like reading it and I'm like, you know what? I keep talking about this Crave series on my Instagram. I'm going to just make a separate account. And I talked about Akotar and everything blew up. And I was like, what in the sorcery is this series? And I loved it. And it really, really hooked me into her writing. And I loved it from the first book. I know some people had a hard time with A Court of Thorns and Roses, but I was sucked in immediately. And then I moved on and transitioned and then got familiar with the Sarah J. Maas universe. I think it really depends on the type of reader you are. If you're not somebody who's like heavily based into fantasy, I would immediately recommend Akotar first because that is a series that I could see anybody loving. Like whether you're a huge fantasy lover or not, it's just a classic.
I'll tell
Like,
you what. If I hadn't
yeah,
read Akatar first, I probably would not have made it through Throne of Glass.
exactly. Akotar is like that intro to Sarah. It's that intro into fantasy. And it's just so well done that you immediately want to gravitate and be like, what else does she write? If you're already into fantasy, like I'm not gonna lie, if I had read Throne of Glass first, I would have still been equally impressed. But I'm a huge
Yeah,
fantasy kid,
right.
you know? So for
I'm
me, I don't
not.
think it would
I'm
have mattered.
not. I'm a new reader, right? So like Harry Potter was my first series that I ever read like for fun that wasn't like for school. And I was already an adult when it came out. So it was my first book that I read and I was like, oh my God, I'm like obsessed. But then I didn't pick up anything else. Not Twilight, not Hunger Games, nothing. I hadn't read in years.
And now, what are you on track to read over 50 books this year?
Yeah,
Almost
I'm
100?
reading my 48th book right now.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm reading How My Neighbor Stole Christmas.
Oh, I saw that.
It's weird so far. It hasn't hit. I know it's supposed to be like spicy or whatever. And at this point, like the guy character, the male character is like so grumpy that I'm like, it needs to get spicy because he's driving me crazy. I cannot.
It's
He needs
Christmas. How are
something.
you not
books?
happy?
Huh?
48 books in 1 year? Oh my God.
I
That's a
know.
lot.
And she's
But
not
some
a
of them are
reader.
like, so I had like Heartstopper. They're like, I read those in like a day because they're graphic novels. But yeah,
Books are books. Books are books, Paula.
books are books. I love that you say that.
Yeah.
But actually, I found Christina through an Akatar reel that she had done. It's the Christmas one, or the like the gifts that you were giving like each character. That's how I found her.
I wanted to do one for Throne of Glass, but I always brainstorm what I would give each character, and I'm never set on a list. Like there's some characters where I literally have no idea what I would give them yet. So it's been in
Someday.
development for a year.
Yeah, that one is
Figure it
like
out.
my favorite of yours is that one, and that fairy wine one is hysterical. Don't drink the fairy wine.
All right. Well, thank you guys for coming on. Very
Thank you.
excited for you guys to read Kingdom of Ash. All right, friends, let's close
All right,
this out.
let's close this out. How about we ask what everybody's reading currently?
All right.
Christina, what are you reading?
I am finishing up Apprentice to the Villain. I literally have like 30 pages left, and then I will
Nice.
be, yeah.
Is that also a fantasy book?
It is, but it's like a sitcom. So it's a little bit, it's very intro fantasy. If you guys are looking for like a funny read, a light read.
Oh, it's funny?
Yeah, it's the first one is Assistant to the Villain. That book actually had me laugh out loud several times. Like I thought it was
All right.
hilarious. And then Apprentice, a little less funny. The plot develops a little bit more, but it's so light fantasy. Like they have, just to give you an example, they have coffee in the books and they call it cauldron brew. So it's like a modern, it's like a modern, it's really quirky. It's very sitcom-y. So just like
I'm
a
having
light read.
Cauldron Brew right now.
Oh my God, it would be perfect for you guys, actually, if you're looking for a light read after Kingdom of Ash, because it is like a perk your mood right up type of book.
All right. I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. Danny, what are you currently reading?
I am reading Dating and Dragons.
Dating and Dragons?
Yes.
Like not dating in dragons, dating and.
And Dragons. So it's a follow-up to the book I was reading previously, which was
Danny
Ooh, I
likes
already like
dragons
the
though.
cover.
Oh, did you go look it up? I was like, she didn't even look it
Yeah.
up. How did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it says author of Dungeons and Drama. And I play
yeah,
Dragons
Dungeons
and
and
Dungeons.
Drama was the first one. So it's like it's very much like high school rom-com.
Okay.
And the girl's dad owns like this gaming store and they play Dungeons and Dragons and she's into theater and then she gets in trouble for stealing the car to go see a musical. So she has to work at the game shop where a boy from school plays Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay. So theater girl meets
So the first one was very
gamer
good. So
nerd.
I'm reading the second one. Is it out yet?
Is it out here?
No, not yet published.
Danny's a real ARC reader. Not like me,
It's
where books
published.
show up by surprise on my
Surprise.
doorstep.
It's expected February 4th, so it is not yet
So it's
published.
coming out soon. So while you're waiting, read the first one, Drama and
All
Dragons.
right. Angel?
I finished reading recently Wicked before the musical came out, the movie
Movie.
musical. Yeah. And I read The One Dark Window immediately afterwards. Finished that like in a couple days and then picked up it's called Two Twisted Crowns,
Yes.
right? Two Twisted Crowns. So and that one I think I'm more than how I think I'm like on chapter 26 or something. So I don't know how many chapters that is, but I'm
There's
pretty
50
far in.
chapters in that book.
Oh, okay. So I'm about halfway through. So
Because chapter 50 broke me.
well, but then I heard Christina say it was a duology, so I'm kind of sad because I don't know, I liked it and I was hoping I'd get like seven more books, like like thrown in glass, not just two.
Yeah, but she is coming out with another duology. I don't think it's related to these characters at all. I think she writes her books in two, to be honest.
Oh,
But I'm
okay.
wondering if it'll have like a similar vibe.
Okay. Well, I
I'll
don't know.
have to
I'm really
look.
liking it though.
Well, I just finished One Dark Window and Two Twisted Grounds. And I started How My Neighbor Stole Christmas. It's my Christmas read. It's a little bit smutty, supposedly. I haven't reached any of that yet. But I don't typically read smutty books like for the smut. It has to be well placed. And then I'm going to read Kingdom of Ash after I'm done with that. And hopefully I'll finish before December.
You will. We'll get sucked in and I'm sure we'll finish it quickly.
As long as there's no 40-minute chapters.
Everybody will be saying Happy New Year, and you're just gonna be in the corner like like reading.
Yeah, exactly.
Until next time.
Keep creating.
getting killed or worse, expelled.